So not that long ago, Valve just announced that they're coming out with 3 new pieces of hardware, none of which is the Steam Deck, mind you, which is kind of weird in a market where handheld gaming is like such a big thing right now. Valve is not updating their own handheld device. It is still a good device. I'm just surprised that they haven't updated it yet. But what they are coming out with is the new Steam machine, a controller, and a VR headset. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't care about none of those things except for the Steam machine. And we're going to talk about it today because one of 2 things are going to happen. Either one, this is going to be the smartest thing that Valve has done since the Steam Deck, or 2, it's just going to be an overpriced reason to remind us why the Steam machine failed before in the past. So let's talk about this new Steam machine and is it really going to be worth it for you guys? Now, this is kind of interesting because kind of like I was referencing earlier, pretty much all the console manufacturers are getting into handheld gaming. At the same time, they seem to be slowly pushing more towards a PC market, where Valve, who dominates the PC market, is actually going to be kind of pushing into the console market, which in a lot of respects is probably the only other market that they don't have a foothold in yet. Even though the Steam Deck doesn't have crazy sales behind it, for PC gamers, it's a pretty solid device, even with it being as old as it is. Because even the new Xbox Ally is just slightly better than that device, and that just came out this year. Now, with all that said, one of the biggest things that we're trying to figure out is what is the price going to be, because that's going to dictate, is this going to be something that you're going to want to pick up? Now, a lot of people online are talking about this thing should be around $500, and other people are talking about it's going to be a lot more than that. And then you have the option where it could just be a mid-range PC. And the thing to keep in mind is what we have been hearing, even though we haven't got an actual price from Valve on this, what we have been hearing is they're not trying to compete at that $500 price range. And we know that because they said that this computer is going to be based somewhat similar to what you can expect computer parts to be based at. It seems like they're not expecting to sell this thing at a loss. Now, for those who don't know, really quick explanation. In the past, most console manufacturers do sell their game consoles at a loss because they plan on getting the money back, whether it's through games or whether it's through those subscriptions that they charge you. They're getting their money back that way, and they're using the console just to get you in the door, because ideally you're going to spend more money on games, accessories, and subscriptions than you probably would on the console in the course of its lifespan, which is somewhere around 8 to 10 years. The thing about this device, even though it's kind of branded somewhat as a console, this is 100% a PC. And they said itself it was a PC, in all honesty. And because it being a PC, it has the ability to get Steam keys from other places than just Steam. So you can really go anywhere and get your home Steam library set up. And because of that, Valve could lose money on this device. Now, there was a video that Linus Tech Tips did not that long ago, it was actually relatively recently, and he pretty much built what is going to be very similar to the Steam machine, and he got around the price point of like $700-800. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is we are in a time period where RAM is getting extremely high. The price of RAM are going up. It could affect the Steam machine. We already have rumors that companies like Microsoft may be raising the prices of their Xbox again, which they're like a $3 trillion company. They could eat the loss of this, but regardless, they may be raising the price of their Xbox as well. So of course that could affect Valve, and that's probably why we haven't heard of actual price for this device yet. Now, this may be a wide gap, but I would say expect to be somewhere between $700 to $1,000, which again, that could suck, but I think that's where we're a little bit closer to where we're going with this. Now, what I do find interesting is Valve said themselves that most of their users, it was somewhere between 70 to 80% of their users, this device will actually be more powerful than what most of their users actually have. So I'm curious to see how well it runs in a real world case. Now, going back to Linus's video, we did see him run things like Cyberpunk, and it did look pretty good on that. And it was very close to the PlayStation 5. I don't remember if that was a Pro or not that he used, but I do know it's a PlayStation 5, and it looked really good on the PlayStation 5, and it looked good on their DIY Steam machines. So that can kind of justify the pricing a little bit more. Now, before we go into this, we have to acknowledge that this is the second big push that Valve has done with the Steam machine. Now, I don't remember what year it was, but way back in the day, Valve actually partnered with different manufacturers to release Steam machines, and they effectively failed. Now, a few reasons behind that was, one, high price, ironically, was one of the reasons why the device actually failed. The other reason was there was way too many configurations, and it was just confusing. When you walked in the store, I remember looking, I didn't know which Steam machine to buy. I didn't really understand why I needed a Steam machine. There was the Xbox and there was the PlayStation, and Nintendo was floating around somewhere. Why can't I just get those? But then I had to figure out and understand PC parts to realize what benefit I'm getting with this device over this one or that one. And because I was just in the console mindset, I just want to pick something up and be on my way. But imagine what a mom is that's going in for like Black Friday or holiday shopping, and you have all these different configurations. Of course, that's going to be confusing, and she's just going to get something simple like the Xbox, the Nintendo, whatever it was at the time, or the PlayStation. You didn't get a lot of value out of it. if you was trying to get into PC gaming at the time, you would have just did better just building a computer. The other thing to keep in mind too is that SteamOS has improved a lot since the last Steam machine has been on the market. Stability, Proton improvements, game support, there's a much bigger push towards all this stuff now than it was all those years before. Like for example, on the Steam Deck, you actually have Steam Deck verifications for a lot of games that on the Steam marketplace. Obviously, we know the same thing is going to be happening with this new Steam machine. Now, the cool thing that's going to attract a lot of people with this Steam machine is the plug and play feature. That's one thing that's actually going to attract me, the fact that it is going to have that console experience. A lot of people, when you're working in front of a computer all day or just a long hard day of work, you don't want to have to worry about doing driver updates and all this other type of stuff. You don't want to have to get through this whole Windows interface. You just want to go right to the game. And having a system that's already going to be optimized, now you may have to just do regular updates. It may be a one button press for the OS like any console has to do. Not having to go through all your different driver settings to make sure things are compatible. That's going to definitely make more people want to check out Steam. Now, I will say Windows is getting better. They do have the Xbox experience or whatever, but it's still not nearly as good as Steam's OS. Like as far as UI goes and just being able to get right into your game, Steam is still number one when it comes to their big picture mode. I actually can't wait to see what more they're going to do by adding on to big picture mode. So not only is the plug and play great, this is also going to be good for people that just either don't want to or don't know how to build a computer. Now, some people online will say, oh, it's easy to build a computer, just watch a YouTube video and it'll tell you. But some people are just computer illiterate. They want to play the games, but they don't understand all the fundamentals behind it. You have a much better chance to know that what you buy is not only going to be supported, but a lot of your games will work on this device. Ultimately, these are people that want to go ahead and play on Steam. They want the Steam benefits. They want that Steam experience, but in a console format. So this is actually kind of great. Now, who is the Steam machine not going to be for? Probably you guys. Well, at least half of you guys. Now, I know about half of my audience is kind of split down the middle when it comes to console gaming and PC gaming. And I honestly fit in the middle because I do both. But I know some of you guys are diehard one way, some of you guys are diehard the other way. And that's totally fine if that's the brand that you want to be with. But if you're already heavily in the PC gaming space, you probably already have a computer that's going to kill this thing. But on the flip side, you may still have that really cool gaming PC setup, but you may not want to sit at your desk. You may want to sit on your couch and play with a controller in your hand. So even if you do have that PC setup, there's still going to be some value for people that, you know, want to have that console experience. And your Steam library is still going to transfer over there with your save data and all that. So it's definitely a big benefit. On top of the fact that you're not going to have to deal with certain like subscription fees, like you have to pay to play online. I know at some point in time, consoles are probably going to get rid of that too. But as of right now, you don't have to worry about those things. Now, the other group of people that probably would not benefit from this is your heavy online gamers. People that play a lot of games that use something like anti-cheat, for example. This may not be the best thing for you. As of right now, games that utilize anti-cheat, and I think there's other anti-cheat software, I can't think of all the names, they don't run on Steam. And games like Fortnite, which I think also does use anti-cheat, also don't run on Steam because they want to use their Epic Games thing. And because of it running Linux, that could be a problem. Now, hopefully Valve has already recognized this and they're behind the scenes working on something to actually make anti-cheat better on Steam. Maybe they're going to make their own anti-cheat. Now, how are they going to get other people to utilize it, like other developers? I have no clue. There are going to be some games that you're just not going to be able to play because it doesn't support Steam. I don't think there's a huge library of those games out there. Games like Fortnite or League of Legends. I know some of you guys may say, I don't play any of those games. But here's the thing, all those games still have a huge player base. So there are a lot of people that do play them. So for those people, this device may automatically be a no-go because you're not gonna be able to play any of those games on there. And ultimately, it just has no Windows. If you guys actually like Windows, I don't know why you would, but if you guys do like Windows, this doesn't have Windows on it at all. So if you want to do things like Game Pass, I know a lot of people don't like Game Pass right now. I'm still a Game Pass supporter. Not that I support people get it. I just unfortunately still give them my money and I still regret it. But Game Pass games will not work on here. That is why I've already taken the liberty of building out my Steam library well in advance. So I have like somewhere around 200 games and I'm probably going to have a lot more by the time this thing comes out. But I just keep buying games on the Steam library. So if you guys are into like single player games, now obviously multiplayer games are definitely still there. Like you have Battlefield, for example, Battlefield 6 that came out, and Arc Raiders. But if you guys are into those multiplayer games and you're into buying your own games, these are things that you would definitely have to keep in mind. I will say though, buying games through Steam are usually a lot cheaper than buying them on console. I buy games on Steam and CD keys, whatever gives me the best deal at the time I'm trying to purchase. I'm a big fan of supporting Steam, but at the same time, just trying to get a good price. This device is going to be perfect for you console gamers out there that want that PC level power without having to go and invest and get a huge rig. Also, if you're a Steam Deck owner, I do know there's people out there that don't have a gaming PC and they don't have a gaming console. They just have the Steam Deck. They just got into gaming via the Steam Deck. So this is a good way if you do want to go like, okay, I want to, go more into this, but in a console format, this is going to be for you guys. Now, I will say I personally don't care for how Valve does their family sharing on their software. Xbox and PlayStation do it so much better. Nintendo used to be good, but then they became Nintendo and they just stopped caring. So as right now, if you're huge into sharing your PC library, this may still not be the way to go for you, where console gaming still dominates in the game sharing. And if you guys want to know more about that, I did videos on that. I'll link them that you can take a look at them. But game sharing on console is still so much better than it is on Steam. Steam, there's a lot of limitations. You can only play one game at a time. So yes, I can lend out my library to someone, but again, I can only play this game while you're not playing it and vice versa. So ultimately, what does Steam need to do to make this work? And is this device going to be for you? Personally, I'm looking forward to this device. I'm going to see about picking one up myself. Hopefully I'll be able to when it's available. Scalpers and bots and all this stuff. We'll see what happens. But in all honesty, I plan on getting that device and I plan on trying to set it up as a main desktop. For the most part, I use Mac OS to do a lot of my editing and just regular work and anything else I'm doing. Mac OS, even my Plex server and everything is running all off of Mac OS. I literally do not use my Windows computer for anything outside of gaming. So because of that, I really could just buy this device and set it on my desktop and just go from there. And I love the fact that how simple and clean the device looks. I love how it has the power light that goes through the bottom of the device that I think it even lights up based off of like updates and downloads, for example. And then you can also swap out the faceplate to make it blend more in with your style. I love that, the minimalistic look. And yeah, I was a GameCube kid, so come on, I'm really looking forward to that. For people like me that's already heavily into console gaming, this is going to be great. Now, the other thing I am going to see about doing some type of split connection where I can have it on my computer monitor here if I want to play it on my computer monitor, but I can also press a button and it switches over to my television. So if I want to play on my TV, I can. My setups are close enough where I can do that, but that might not be the case for everyone. So just keep that in mind. The hardware, I'm going to be honest, I'm not that worried about. As long as Valve can keep the price at a reasonable state, because at the end of the day, no matter how good Steam is, if the price goes too much higher than the PlayStation or the next PlayStation that comes out, console gamers are not going to see the value in it. You're not going to get people onto your side of PC gaming if at the end of the day they still have a PlayStation that they can jump to. Now, I do think the next PlayStation will be higher, but I'm gonna be honest, I think the next PlayStation is going to be somewhere between $700 to $800. I don't think we're going to hit that $1,000 price tag yet. The Xbox might, but I don't think the PlayStation is going to hit that yet. And then obviously Nintendo, as of right now, is still at their $450 price range. And they already doing a good job of this, but keep with the clear marketing. Like I said before, a lot of the other stuff with the Steam machines prior were very confusing. Keep it clear, keep it focused, and I think we'll be good. I think people already pretty much understand what this device is, but I'm super excited for this. I've been a huge Steam supporter within the past 2 years. I've been playing and buying more and more Steam games, and the fact that they're coming out with this Steam machine is perfectly up my alley. Yes, there are going to be some games that I do play right now on PC that the Steam machine will not be able to run, but that's okay. I have consoles, I have my Ally X, so those games I can play on other stuff. It's not a big deal. So if I can't load up games like Fortnite when my wife wants to play it, that's okay, because I literally have so many other options to play it on. Personally, I think for most people, this will be a great thing to pick up. It's going to run Xbox games, and it's going to run PlayStation games, and it's going to run Nintendo games, but we're not talking about that. At the end of the day, this is going to be a really cool all-in-one device. Now, obviously, we don't know what the price is when it comes to the storage options as well, but the fact that you actually have the option to expand the storage relatively easy is a huge thing that I'm looking forward to as well. I think if you're remotely interested in any form of PC gaming, or if you're a fan of Steam, this is definitely going to be a pickup for next year and probably one of the best things that come out of next year. Anyways, that's my thoughts. Obviously, I'll update this video when we get a price on it, because even though I just named off all the stuff I like about it and the pros and the cons, that price can heavily affect if this is going to be worth picking up or not. Anyways, comment down below, what do you guys think about the Steam Machine? It took me a while to actually get to this. I had so much other stuff going on, other videos to do, but let me know what you think about the Steam Machine. Is it something that you're actually looking forward to picking up? I know a lot of you guys also have consoles, so let me know, with this market that's not too saturated, but with this market, does it still seem viable to go out and purchase a Steam Machine given your personal conditions or how you game? Let me know that all down below in the comments. And as always, thanks so much for sticking around watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.